Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Wednesday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone, as well as TikTok at Big Red Zone. And as always, tell a friend. This week, it was definitely a humbling week for Boston fans. We'll talk about how the Sox blew that ACLS. We'll also talk about a big win for the Patriots, keep a little positive, and the Celtics got going this week too. So we'll break all that stuff down on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
What's going on, Big Red?
Nothing much. This is the spooky episode of the Big Red Zone. Halloween week. Danny Football and I have some special plans for this weekend for Halloween.
We'll be at Mrs. Big Red's party on Saturday, so we'll be good to go on that.
Yep. Have you decided what you're going to be for Halloween?
I did. I let her and Paige know. I'm going to try to do the Joker.
The Joker. Oh man.
I got a good button down purple shirt, purple tie. I got green suspenders today, and I'm going to have my roommate's girlfriend try to do the makeup on Saturday. So we'll see how it turns out.
Is your roommate and his girlfriend coming?
No, they're going their own thing up in New Hampshire. So he's going one way, I'm going the other.
All right. Well, you can do the makeup for you on the way.
Do the makeup, and then I'm going to drive down.
Nice. Yeah, it should be a fun time. Halloween's a great holiday. Great holiday. And
definitely
this week,
top three for me. Definitely top three.
Really? What's your top three holidays?
I got to go Christmas, Halloween, 4th of July.
In no particular order?
In that order.
In that order.
Exactly.
Say Christmas,
Halloween, 4th of July.
Really? Thanksgiving? Not a top three?
No.
Wow.
I'd put St. Patrick's Day before that.
Wow. That's a hot take by many accounts. Halloween's definitely one of my favorites. Christmas is definitely up there too, and 4th of July I get to eat cookouts. So, but it's funny. My aunt always hosts Christmas, and she always does a cookout in Christmas.
Oh,
so
all right.
I got the cookout in 2 holidays, but I just love food. I guess that's why I like the holiday. My favorite holidays has a lot of food. Yeah, it should be a fun time. I'm not sure if what my costume will come in time.
Oh, we have to think on our feet then.
It may be a little bit on the feet, on the fly. I have a slice of pizza hanging up over there.
Are you and the missus going for a couple's costume again this year?
A little, yeah. It's definitely related.
Is she going to be out of a costume too, or is she good?
No, she's good. She has her. Did she tell you what?
I don't think so.
So it wouldn't be. She would be fine if mine didn't come in time. It wouldn't affect hers. Okay. But I would just have to. It wouldn't be a couple's costume anymore. It would just be her as a singular.
Interesting. Okay.
It's not even like a couple's costume. It's just like
I don't know if she told me what hers was. I know what Paige's is going to be.
It's a movie. It's from a movie. Did she tell you?
Probably not.
No,
you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. It could be a surprise.
I don't want to tell you and then be disappointed when you get there and then it's all.
Oh, all right. I see.
You know what I mean? It's like if it doesn't come in time, then
then you're just sitting there.
Now I'm just sitting there a liar. Then I'm gonna have to show up in something else. I did go to the mall the other day to look at the Spirit Halloween, and there was I went into Lid's locker room with the jerseys, and I was thinking, oh man, this could be the Jackie Moon year, but I never did.
Ooh.
I never did it. Jackie Moon would have been a great costume.
Have you ever done Jackie Moon or no?
No, I've never done it.
Dude, I would bust it out if I were you.
See, I didn't get it though. I don't know. Now you have me second guessing myself. Now I gotta.
That's easy. You go to Spirit Halloween, get like an afro wig, grab the Jackie Moon jersey, tube socks. You're good to go. Tube socks.
Yeah, man, they gotta have some of that stuff there. Now you got me second guessing.
I did Space Jam one year. That was
Space Jam's a great one, and that's a really like. It
was easy.
Yeah, you just get a T-shirt, cut the sleeves.
You
bought the jersey?
I had the jersey, shorts, tube socks, and then I got rabbit ears.
That's a good.
So I was good to go.
That would have been a good couple costume too. Mrs. Big Red wouldn't be into that. She's not into Space Jam. That's all right. But that's a great one. Yeah. All right. Now you got me. Now you stumped me. Now I gotta do some work. I got 3 days to get this, or 4, what is it, 5 days to get this going. So yeah, it's a Halloween episode this week. The NFL plays actually on Halloween, which will be fun to watch all those games. But before we get to that, let's talk about last weekend. Let's get to weekend recap. It's the weekend recap. So for weekend recap, we break down the 3 games of the NFL week. First up, we got a blowout. It was a bunch of blowouts this week, Danny Football. There was no close games.
A lot of lopsided games this week.
It was very tough to pick 3 games this week, and really we only picked 2 because the Patriots are always one. We had to find 2 other games that were worth talking about, and they were all pretty much blowouts. So this one kind of carries some weight. Chiefs versus Titans. The Chiefs get completely dismantled. They get blown out by the Titans. It was pretty amazing. They lost 27-3. I was watching this game. I was watching the Patriots game, and they also had this game on. But it was just a complete cluster for the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes looked bad. Came out with a little bit of an injury, had a pick and I think 2 fumbles, if I'm not mistaken. 206 yards passing, no TDs. This is the first time where the offense didn't look good and the defense just looked its normal bad self. So is it time to be nervous if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan?
So you have it here in the notes that they're just not good anymore. Are you ready to give them the Trent Dilfer speech?
I said I had it in the notes. Is it time for the Trent Dilfer speech? I don't know. Because the reason I have that in there is this is the first week that the offense has been really bad. Like if you look back at their other games that they lost, I mean, the last week they scored 31, the week before 20, 42, 24, 35, 33. Like they've scored between 20 and 35 points. This week, they couldn't get anything going. It was just a bad week. So when I see the offense not doing anything and the defense doing its normal self, yeah, that starts to give me some concern. And I'm not ready to write this team off because you can't write off Patrick Mahomes. You know, he's earned that right. And they got that prolific offense. But the thing that's going to hurt them and is hurting them is their defense stinks. So unless they start adding some pieces at the trade deadline, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, they're in trouble. I mean, they have the same record as Patriots, and the Patriots are talking about, oh, this is a nice rebuilding year. This is supposed to be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I saw a lot of this is the shortest dynasty of all time, the greatest one Super Bowl dynasty of all time. It's crazy to see how far they've fallen, given, you know, the amount of talent that they still have on the team. You know, it's one thing if you win the Super Bowl, you can't re-sign anyone, you lose all of your prospects, you lose all of your like blue chippers, and you suck. That's one thing, but they still have Kelsey. They still have Tyreek Hill. They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You add like a Josh Gordon. You bring in a Tyrann Mathieu for your defense. You add a Joe Thuney on the offensive line.
Yeah.
So this Chiefs team on paper, I think I said it last week, on paper is stacked. They're just not meshing as a team, man. They're losing games we're supposed to be winning, and in a matchup of the Chiefs and Titans where, you know, these are supposed to be 2 of the top dogs in the AFC, one team seems a lot better than the other. So I'm starting to wonder if there's going to be a gap, if the Chiefs are starting to come down from that A tier to maybe they're coming back into the pack.
Now, to give some fairness to the Chiefs, they are struggling with injuries. Like you said, Joe Thuney was a big ad. He's injured. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's injured. But with that said, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, hopefully he's not out because I think that's game over for them. They are struggling with injuries, but their secondary is not good. Their secondary is really bad. And for the last few years, if you notice, they've kind of just done the Patriots route and said, hey, Patty, just get us over the hump and help us win. And for the most part, he's been able to do that. But I was talking to someone today. It's like they said, you get years of tape on him. Now you have years of tape on Patrick Mahomes. You can kind of contain it. You have years of tape on Travis Kelce, years of tape on Tyreek Hill. You kind of see how this offense has worked for the last couple of years. And without a running game, which they don't have without, Darrell Williams did well a couple weeks ago, but without a running game, it's going to be pass first. So they can take that out, and they know they're going to get what they want out of the defense. The secondary is awful. So they need to do some serious work. If they want to have a chance, which I think this is a team that should be in sell mode or in not sell mode, but
You think they should blow it up?
no, that's not what I mean. The opposite. They should really go all in. This is a go all in team because you were a contender. You should go in and try to get some defensive pieces because unless Patrick Mahomes, you find out, is out for the year and, then you're going to probably be like, all right, what are we going to do now? We kind of got to maybe try to get some young, which I don't think he is. I think it's just a little banged up and they don't want to bring him back into a blowout. But, and if he is out for an extended period of time, maybe you start thinking about bringing in some young secondary pieces or trading away a Tyrann Mathieu to a contender to try to get, he's an older player, try to get a bunch of draft picks. You know what I mean?
I see what
like,
you're saying. Do you start selling on some of the veterans to try to inject some life into this team?
If and only if, I think the main catalyst of that is if Patrick Mahomes is playing. I haven't heard anything on his injury. I don't think it's anything serious. But if someone gets hurt, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is already hurt. If you lose Patrick Mahomes, or even if you lose like Travis Kelce or someone, what are you doing? You're the one thing that was bailing you out of games isn't working. So either they're going to have to go all in and try to get some defensive players to add into this team, or they got to start. They got to start selling because right now they're very mediocre. They're not. They're not bad. I wouldn't say this is a bad football team, but they're right in the middle of the pack, which is not where you want to be.
I think a good comp for them would be the Seahawks after their kind of run of Super Bowls where the Patriots took that last one at the goal line with Malcolm Butler, and it started to deteriorate. Guys start getting paid. You have to cut ties with certain other players, and it just kind of falls apart. So I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think the Chiefs are starting to just fall back to the pack. Like you said, they have years of tape on Mahomes. They have years of tape on the offense as a whole. Mahomes can only roll out to the right and throw falling down with his left hand in a spin so many times before the defense knows exactly what's coming. And one thing that I think is starting to catch up to him is the last couple of years, Pat Mahomes was one of I don't want to say the worst. He was tops in the league in dropped interceptions. Defenders are starting to complete these interceptions now and starting to cost them. So whereas I'll call it luck. A couple of years it's luck. Defenders drop it, he gets another chance. They're not dropping them now. You're throwing clear interceptions, easy interceptions. They're cashing in, pick sixes. You're putting your defense in a hole, and you're stunting your own offense. So I think it's a little bit of his luck is running out. I think the team is not as good as they once were, and you're right. They're at a crossroads where do we try to fix it now with the guys we have or sell and, punt on the season if Mahomes is going to be hurt? But I think I'm not going to say the Chiefs are done, but I think this is the start of a decline.
Yeah. And I think they're in a very interesting position. Like I don't think they're past the point of a decline where it's not surmountable.
No, I'm not giving them the Brady cliff, but I'm saying they're definitely not above and beyond everyone else. Because there was a point where it was the Chiefs and everyone else.
Right. I think you're right. I think they've come back to earth, and instead of saying, all right, who's going to play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, now you're saying, all right, who's going to play in the AFC Championship? And it's looking like it's wide open. And that's why I say, I don't know. I mean, I always say the Bills. I think this is the Bills' year. I've been saying that, but it really could be anyone. The Titans are surprising. The Raiders, we're not talking about their game, but the Raiders are a surprising contender from my perspective in this season. They have all the controversy with their head coach leaves. They've had some injuries on their team. Darren Waller is a prolific person on their team, and he's out with an injury this week. Josh Jacobs has been hurt off and on throughout the season. So, and they're still somehow 5-2 or whatever it is. And it's crazy to think the Chiefs are not even in. I don't think they're in a playoff spot right now. They're not in a playoff spot, and it's still early. Um, but they are at a crossroads. They got to kind of figure out what they're doing. And if they are in a sell mode, I don't think they sell completely, but they got to start looking at trying to get some draft picks to start beefing up that secondary because their secondary is really bad. The thing that I am kind of impressed with is, the Titans, I didn't really think that they would, I didn't really believe that much in the Titans. I mean, AJ Brown's starting to look like their true number one again. Like he's actually finding his way. Julio Jones didn't do much, but he had a couple big catches. Derrick Henry's always good. And
Derrick Henry became a quarterback.
Right. Is that his first career touchdown? No, he had that one. Didn't he have that one on the Wildcat play? Your favorite episode of Big Red Zone.
Did he throw that or did he run it? I can't remember.
Whoever the Wildcat was, it was a throw. I think it was Derrick Henry threw the touchdown pass. It was definitely a throw because it looked like when I saw the replay of it, it looked like the same exact play from the playoff game. Very well could have been a replay, and I just didn't realize it. But Derrick Henry's doing it all.
I'm trying to find it. You can keep going.
Yeah. The Titans actually look pretty strong, and I think their team is going to depend a lot on, are their wide receivers going to play like how they how they should be playing with AJ Brown and Julio Jones, because it's an unstoppable combination. And Derrick Henry. I mean, I think a lot of their success is going to depend on Derrick Henry and how he runs the ball, and if defenses can slow him down, because no one's going to stop him. It's who's can slow him down. Ryan Tannehill, he is what he is. He's a get you through the game quarterback. And I think, as long as he doesn't make mistakes, he turned the ball over, but as long as he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, I think the Titans will be okay in this season down the stretch.
Yeah, he has the playoff Wildcat in this one, so he has 2 passing touchdowns.
Yeah. So
598 less than Brady.
He's working on it. Man, hopefully when he gets to 600, hopefully they don't give away the ball. Mike Evans. I think I don't really blame Mike Evans that much because I don't even think he realized it was 600.
No,
you think he knew it was 600?
No, there's no chance he knew.
Yeah, I don't think he realized it was 600. But I'll tell you one thing. If I was that fan that got the 600th ball, I definitely wouldn't have given it back. I would have kept it or got a king's ransom. You could have got season tickets for life to any stadium and probably Super Bowl tickets for the rest of your life and probably a big cash prize to get that ball.
If it's me, I'm at least getting season tickets. At least.
Yeah.
I can have the $1,000 credit at the team store and the jerseys. Give me tickets for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that guy learned a valuable lesson of how not to squander your golden ticket,
baby.
Yeah, that was absolutely, and he handed it right over. He didn't even think twice. I know. I guess he's a good guy. I guess we shouldn't get on him too much. He's a good guy, and want to see that history be in the hands of other people. But here's an honest question for you, Danny Football. Which team at the end of the season will make it further? Do you think out of the Titans in Kansas City?
Let me look at the Chiefs division real quick. Hold on.
It's a tough one, man.
One second.
The Chiefs division, Raiders are in first, 5-2, Chargers 4-2, Chiefs 3-4, and Broncos 3-4.
I think the Titans will go further because I think I don't know if Kansas City is gonna win their division. So they may be playing a wild card game, and with how strong the AFC is, and you add that extra wild card, I don't know if they're gonna get that far. Honestly, the Titans will at least have the benefit of winning their division. I don't see the Chiefs being able to get there.
Yeah, the Titans play in I think we said last week, the worst division. I think we called it the worst division in football. I mean, they get to play the Jags and Texans 2 times, and that's 4 of their 17 games. So I think the Titans, you're right, are going to win the division. The Chiefs got to play the Chargers. They got to play the Raiders. They're in trouble. So I think you're right. I think the Chiefs will find their way to a wild card game, but I think the Titans. I mean, we could end up seeing the Titans versus the Chiefs. To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know how that the playoff seeding is going to work out. I don't know how because I know they changed it last year. I don't know if they're keeping the same format or not. But
That I'm not sure of.
but it will be interesting too. I mean, it's crazy to see the Chiefs go down this way, but I can't say that I'm too sad about it. Let's move on to another game where it's a Super Bowl contender versus probably the first pick in the draft. We're going Rams. I mean, they may want it to get a quarterback. Rams versus Lions. I mean, the thing about the Lions game is when you look at their score, they're in a lot of their games, which is kind of sad. Like they lose by 9. No, like, can I do math? Yeah, 9 points to them. They got blown up by the Bengals. Lost by 2 to the Vikings. Lost by 10 to the Bears. That's pretty brutal. Lost by 2 to the Ravens. Blown out there. And you lose by, what's that? A touchdown? A touchdown to the 49ers. So it's not like they're getting blown out every game, but they just can't find a way to win. And I think it's coaching. I think the team just isn't that great. But the sad thing is they got a lot of good pieces on that Lions team. I mean, DeAndre Swift is playing unbelievable. He's proving to be a good pass catcher. I mean, he had 96 yards on 8 receptions and a touchdown. And I mean, that touchdown was I forget how long it was, but it was like a 60-yard, whatever. It's a pretty long touchdown. They got the two punch running back core of Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. They're playing great. TJ Hawkinson, as we talked about, is a great tight end. And I mean, their wide receivers aren't really doing much. And I don't know how much that has to do with Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff hasn't looked great at all. But on the other side of the coin, the other quarterback that was in that trade, Matt Stafford's been unbelievable. And as I said, he's a potential MVP candidate for this year. And the Rams just continue to roll, and the Lions just try to find a win somewhere. And I don't know if they're going to get to a point where they're just going to want to lose every game to try to get the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit has seen this movie before. Good players, team sucks, can't win a game. I don't know if they're 0-16 bad, but they're well on their way to be getting there. I never believed in Goff. I always thought Goff was a pedestrian at best quarterback. He's starting to show it now that he doesn't have Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Tyler Higbee and an amazing defense to back him up. So he's definitely not the future of this franchise. I don't know if that's what the Lions were going for when they brought him in, but now you're seeing Stafford's being able to flourish outside of Detroit. So clearly Detroit is the problem. And if we're being honest, I don't know. We were kind of looking through the picks of the week. They have the Bears coming up. After that, it's going to be pretty tough to find where they're going to get that first win. So the Lions are in a bad spot. They should have never gotten rid of Jim Caldwell. They brought in Patricia. He set the franchise back. Now they have Dan Campbell, who, to his credit, is honest to God, trying everything he can to win games. 2 fake punts, onside kick. He's going for it, but it's just the Detroit Lions be the Detroit Lions, and the Rams are for real. So, Rams truck them. Lions are 0-7. Will they get to 0-16, 0-17 now? Who knows? But it's not looking great.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Like we said, they play the Bears on Thanksgiving, and if I know anything, the Lions can be the worst team in the NFL, but they can be the best team on Thanksgiving. They something about being a Detroit Lion and playing on Thanksgiving. They somehow play better. Like that was, like I always said, Matt Stafford, that was his Super Bowl. He always played unbelievably on Thanksgiving. So maybe that's where they get their first win. But I mean, at this point, I don't know if they really want to win. I think they want the number 1 draft pick. I mean,
they've gone down that route before, so
it hasn't really worked out. But like you said, they're not like the Jags and the Jets last year, just obviously throwing games.
No.
Like you said, Campbell wants to win. You can see it in how he's coaching. He's making really risky plays and trying to figure out how to get wins, but they just can't seem to get it done. I wrote this down. Question: what will happen first? The Lions will get their first win, or their coach will get fired?
Lions get their first win. I don't think they fire Campbell this season.
You don't think they're gonna fire him?
No.
No. I mean, if they go 0-17, man, that's pretty.
I don't even know if they fired who was it? It was the defensive guy. Oh my god, what was his name? I I can't remember his name, but they didn't fire him after the 0-16. Let me see. 0-16 Lions. I can't remember what his goddamn name was.
Uh, well, and you know what? He seems to really want to win and stuff, but I mean, there's always those top coaching candidates that come out each year, and it's like, would you rather go another year with him or? I mean, at some point you got to have some stability and say, all right, we're going to put our faith and trust in one guy for at least a couple of years. But I don't know. This season has just looked really dismal. On the other side of the coin, I mean, to talk a little positivity here, Stafford's looked awesome. He threw, and it was his first game against his former team. 334 yards and a touchdown, 3 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, obviously 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. If you have him in fantasy football this season, folks, you are probably doing pretty okay this season. He's unbelievable, dude. And like you said, I think that was a reason why Goff kind of did so well in LA was because he had Kupp, Woods, Higbee. Like that's an unbelievable combination to be able to throw to. And I mean, it's showing. They're playing really well. So LA Rams, prove why they're a contender this season. And the Lions prove why they're a dumpster team. There was really no other thing to talk about. It was nice to see the homecoming for Goff, first game back. Didn't really look that great. But in Stafford's first game against the Lions, it's always fun to see those teams quarterbacks play their former teams. Are you good to move on?
Yeah.
That's enough. That was just a brutal game. Another brutal game, but in the positive for us is the Patriots versus the Jets. Pats blow out the Jets on Sunday, 54-13. Their offense exploded, and it was on the back of Mac Jones, 307 yards and 2 touchdowns. Another guy that really threw the ball well was Kendrick Bourne with a 25-yard touchdown pass. Damian Harris, again, another 100-yard night, 2 touchdowns this week. J.J. Taylor got on the scoreboard with 2 rushing touchdowns. And the big receiving threat this week was Brandon Bolden with 79 yards, 6 receptions, and a touchdown. Aguilar caught the touchdown pass from Kendrick Bourne, and also Hunter Henry with his third or fourth straight game with a touchdown pass from Mac Jones. Fourth straight game with a touchdown from Mac Jones. So he's definitely looking to like it's paying off. Just general reactions before we start breaking into it. What's your general reaction from this blowout win?
So you and me have been saying this for 7 weeks now, 6 weeks leading up to this game. You have to beat the teams that you have to beat. And, going into last week or going into this week, we were saying it. You have to beat the Jets. You have to beat the Jets. You have to beat the Jets. Like, you cannot drop this game. And 54 points is pretty much exactly what I was looking for. Mac gets his first 300-yard passing game. Damian Harris keeps the ball clean. J.J. Taylor keeps the ball clean. Brandon Bolden actually shows up as an offensive weapon. You got all the wide receivers going. Even N'Keal Harry had a good jump ball. So every facet of the game was moving. The defense played solid. Offense was solid. You got all your 5 tool players going. You got it sucks to lose Jonnu Smith, but Hunter Henry steps up. So if you're gonna use a game as almost essentially a practice, this was the hell of a week to do it. Get everyone confidence, get a win, get that first home win, and now Chargers. Borderline, you should beat the Chargers. You shouldn't beat the Chargers. They're a good team. So here we are again. We said it with the Bucs. We said it with the Cowboys. This is a good team, but you need to find a way to win. So they got to find a way to win this week.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's a great momentum win. You're coming off a tough loss against the Cowboys. You haven't won a game at home yet, so you need to kind of get that first one. And this team is just it's a lame duck. You got to put them away early, and you need to completely annihilate this team, and you did. It was nice to see Mac Jones sling it the way he did. I mean, And I know everyone's saying take it. It's the Jets. You beat the Jets, but you know what? We needed this. We needed a momentum win to kind of like
Season's a hell of a lot different if we lose this game. So
right. So and you, like we said earlier when talking about the Chiefs, you have the same record as a team that was supposed to be the contender. So what are you gonna do? This is a big week coming up. You're going on the road. You're 2-0 on the road right now. So you try to make it 3-0. And the Chargers are one of those really good teams. They have a really good offense. They have a pretty good defense. They're well coached. You got to find a way to beat this team. This is a very winnable game for them. This is a very winnable game. You know, I'm hoping that they can go in to the Chargers and pull out a W and find that way to win. Every good team they played, they've been a couple plays away from winning. And they just got to find those couple plays, and it's tough, but I think this is a very winnable game, and they need to find a way to win this game if they want to make it. Like who was it said today? I think it might have been Damian Harris. He said, "We believe we can turn this season around." Well, you got to win this game if you're going to turn the season around. Get back to 500, right? Or are they at 500?
no, they're 3-4. So let's
3-4.
500. So I'm gonna say this: they play the Bills on December 6th. Between now and then, they play the Chargers this Sunday. They play the Panthers. They play the Browns. They play the Falcons, and then they play the Titans the week before. I'd argue those are Those are 1, 2, 3. Those are 5 games that you got to have. I'd argue you should probably go 5-0. Again, Titans are a good team, but you got to find a way to beat the good teams. So I'd argue you got to go 5-0 in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you got to try to find
because then you have the Bills on Monday night, 8:15 game. Who knows what the Bills are looking like at that point? That could be a good swing game for the division. So,
yeah, looking at, I mean, Falcons, we know what they're at. They're not a great team. The Panthers, I mean, they're kind of coming back exposed. Down. Yeah, they're coming back down to earth. I mean, they started off great, but Sam Darnold's kind of getting exposed and coming back down to earth.
Browns are a coin flip. They're just a coin flip team at this point.
Yeah, it's a team like one day they're going to show up, another day they're not. And then it leaves you with the Titans and the Chargers, which are very good teams, but those are, like you said, we got to find a way to beat some playoff teams. So
you can't just beat up on the sub 500 teams and lose above 500 teams. Then
right,
even if you limp into the playoffs, you're not going to win anything.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, 5-0 should be the goal, but they got to at least go 4-1 into these next 5. I think going into Buffalo, and you're going to play Monday Night Football in Buffalo. It's going to be that's going to be a tough game.
You're already 2 games back, so you got to hope that
that's a game you got to have.
You got to hope that the Bills you got to hope the Bills fall apart in the next 5 weeks, or you got to keep pace.
Let's see what the Bills are playing. Yeah, and you're not going to get any help from the Bills because the Bills are playing the Dolphins this week, the Jags the week after, the Jets the week after that, the Colts after that, and the Saints after that.
There you go.
They're going to go 5-0.
So you're right. You got to. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you will get some help
because even if you go 4-1, you're going to drop 3 games back.
Yeah, you got to.
It's out of your hands.
Yeah, I mean the Bills. It is in your hands because you play the Bills twice, and the Bills do play the Bucks. That's going to be a close game. The Saints, it's a coin flip what team you get. And that's pretty much it, though. There's not much other help coming to the aid from the rest of their schedule. They get a pretty easy schedule. They play the Jets twice. They play the Jags. They play the Dolphins. They play the Panthers. They play the Falcons. And then the other teams I just mentioned. So, yeah, you're right. You got to go 5-0 if you want to have a chance. So it's gonna be a tough next 5 weeks, but like there's winnable games, and like there's games that you have to win, and then there's 2 teams that it's games that you can win, and you should beat some playoff teams if you want to be a playoff contender.
Yeah, if you're gonna be a playoff team, you got to beat playoff teams.
So yeah, I think all around to kind of put a bow on this because it wasn't like a lot to talk about. I mean. Except you want to get one more because this is the last time we play him. Do you want to get one more slam at Sam Darnold? That's Sam Darnold. Zach Wilson.
Oh, fuck Zach Wilson.
Zach, any last words for Zach Wilson this season?
I'll never wish an injury on anyone, but I mean, shit. What do you expect? The kid goes down, and then they bring in this Mike. What was his name? Mike White.
Mike White.
Was it Mike White? No.
Yeah, Mike. It was Mike White.
Yeah, they're bringing in Mike White. He can't do shit either. So the Jets suck. Zach Wilson's overrated. Mac Jones is clearly the best rookie in the draft. We all saw what happened to Justin Fields when he played the Bucs. Mac Jones played that same exact team, and he looked pretty good.
Yep.
So if you're looking for who was the best rookie quarterback, it's Mac Jones by far. He's gonna have a tough matchup with Herbert, who's in his second year. We saw him explode last year. It's gonna be a good matchup of Herbert and Jones. And I mean, yeah, we know what Herbert can do. Max coming off his first 300 game, he has to keep pace. See if we got to have this game. Got to have it.
Mike White actually looked better than Zach Wilson. If I, in my opinion, I think he looked even better. He threw 202 yards and a touchdown.
Hard to look worse than Zach Wilson.
So I know Zach Wilson will miss playing the Patriots and hearing Danny Football's reactions to seeing him play. But maybe we'll recap another Jets game if they can find a way to win. It won't probably be with that.
Won't be with Zach Wilson.
Mike White, maybe your guy. So let's move on. Let's get into our next segment of the week, the picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
So for picks of the week, we pick one game of that a team that we think is going to win in the upcoming week. Jeez, I'm struggling tonight. It was pajama day at work, so I'm all tired.
You're already
screwed up.
You're already half asleep.
I'm half asleep all day. We picked one game of the week that we think is going to win. Gee, I can't even get through this. You go, Danny Football. What do you got for your pick of the week? I'm done.
So picks of the week. I'm sitting at 5-2. Big Red's at 4-3. He's a game back. I've really turned it around through 7 weeks. Last year's football wasn't too good for me.
On a 5-0 streak right now.
Is that what it is?
Streak. Oh,
I'm on a 5-game heater. All right.
Yeah.
We're both going with interdivision games. I'm going Steelers over Browns. We said it earlier. The Browns are a coin flip team. Arguably, the Steelers are probably a coin flip team too.
I agree.
I think the Browns are declining, man. I think they had their one shot last year when they, kind of everything fell on their lap and they beat the Steelers in that playoff game. I think they're going to come crashing down to earth. Steelers aren't much better, but I kind of lean more towards the experience. I'm going to go Steelers over Browns.
I like that pick. I mean, I think the Steelers are kind of figuring some stuff out. And you're right. The Browns, it depends. Like they have so many, they're so banged up. It's not even funny. That I did hear this week that Nick Chubb may come back this week, which will definitely help them. You're right. It's a toss up what Browns team.
For all I know, the Browns could win this game by 50 or lose this game by 50. So
yep, agreed. I'm going Falcons over Panthers. I think the Panthers were pretty much exposed. The Falcons are kind of finding their way. They're kind of stringing some wins together here in the last couple weeks, and I think they have a good shot to win this week. It would definitely be a big. It's definitely a winnable game for them. And let's see where the Falcons are. The Falcons are. Yeah, the Falcons. I mean, they're in a tough division, but they're half a game back on the Saints, and the rest of the NFC is kind of wide open, minus the first a few couple teams. Oh, geez, what is wrong with me tonight?
Wow,
a couple teams. I may just let you host the rest of the show. Minus a couple teams. I mean, they're a playoff team right now, are within striking distance of a playoff team. So I think this is a good win chance for them. It's a division game, like you said, and let's see Matty Ice get it done. All right, let's move on to waiver pickups before I butcher any more of this stuff. I'm going Adam Lazard. He's rostered in 4.9% of leagues. It's 2 weeks in a row. He's had a touchdown touchdown catch, which is pretty good. No Adams this week. He's on the COVID list. So I assume that Rodgers is going to look Lazard's way a lot. So if you don't have Adams, if you do have Adams, you should probably look his way. Yeah, I think he had 6 targets this week. So as a lot of targets, I would go after Adam Lazard in your waiver pickup this week.
I'm going to stick with the Patriots. I'm going Brandon Bolden, coming off a good week, 15 points, owned in 5.5% of leagues. Will he find himself in the doghouse next week? Who knows? But after this week, I think he's going to be in the good graces, find some snaps, get a couple chances again. Maybe Kendrick Bourne will hit him for a couple more passes. So I'm going to go Brandon Bolden for this week.
I like that. I have him in Dynasty, and it's a very tough decision to make, but I like it. I think those are two good waiver pickups this week. All right, let's get to the tough part of this episode, which is we were riding a high last week, Danny Football. We were feeling really good talking about these guys.
We were drunk with power last week.
We were 2 wins away from the World Series, and that's all we'll be is 2 wins away. So Red Sox lose, what was that, 3 straight? Would have been 3 straight since we last talked.
Yep.
In pretty much absolute devastating collapsing fashion. I don't know if those words make sense together, but that's how it was. Like, I feel like you had all the momentum, and out of nowhere, someone just cut it and said, "Nope, too late." Offense couldn't get it done. We had like 2 just put them away innings that we gave up 7 and 6 runs. And I think to be honest with you, as much as we were confident, I think this team got a reality check and went right back to, I think, what the team is, which is a wild card team that overperformed at the end of the year and got hot at the right times. So it's a tough pill to swallow. If you consider where you were a year ago today and being the fourth worst team in the MLB, I mean, that's got to make you feel a little positive, but man, it stinks to be, 6 outs away from being up 3-1 and then somehow losing the series. And, now you're thinking like, all right, what do we do now?
Yeah. So something I've been saying since, unfortunately, I came to an end game 6. A couple balls bounce your way, and it's over for the Red Sox. It's a 4-0 sweep. It's a 4-1, gentleman's sweep. It's anything else goes your way, you win the series. Whether you mentioned, the ball boy's stool or Laz Diaz actually calls strike 3 on Nathan Eovaldi.
Oh my God.
To get to the Sox to the bottom of the 9th, tied 2-2. Instead, it turns into a 7-run top of the 9th for the Astros in game 4. So there were a couple momentum swings that kind of just did the Red Sox in. It's like basketball, if the ball's bouncing your way, the ball's bouncing your way. If the shot's not dropping, the shot's not dropping. And you and me, we went a week ago today. We were at Fenway. They explode for 12 runs. We get that grand slam from Schwarber. Offense is hot. Come out game 4 on the next Tuesday or last Tuesday. Xander hits that 2-run bomb, and that's it. Offense goes cold. Astros bullpen suddenly becomes Cy Young winners. They're shutting everyone down. And then, game 5 goes away. Game 5 goes. Game 6, all of a sudden Garcia is healthy. He's throwing harder than he's ever thrown in his life. And, just kind of falls that way. That's how the chips fell. So you mentioned it. If you told me a year ago, hey, don't worry, the Sox are going to be 2 games away from the World Series. They're going to have a 2-1 lead in the ALCS. I probably would have called you crazy. I don't know if I would have even expected them to get that far. But like you said, they got themselves into that wild card game. They rode that momentum, beat the Rays, had the 2-1 lead on the Astros, were a straight call away from possibly going 3-1. And if it's 3-1, man, you got that game 5 in Fenway with a closeout potential. I think that goes completely different as well. So it sucks that this is how it ends, but there are a lot of positives to take out of the series. It's going to be a huge offseason with Schwarber, with how you rebuild the bullpen, who you want to move to maybe the starting rotation. You got Houck, Whitlock potentially. And then this huge the huge question at second base. So I like where the Red Sox team is at. I do hope that they make the necessary adjustments this offseason to make this team a winner, because I don't think even Chaim Bloom thought they were going to get this far. I think he saw this as a bridge year. So I do hope that they cash in and see the pieces that they have now, and they can do this.
I don't want to talk too much about it because, like you said, it's a week ago. It will be over a week when this podcast comes out. But I have to say, MLB baseball, and I don't know who's umpiring this next series, But if Laz Diaz is behind the plate, that is a problem. The fact that he was behind the plate in an ALCS game when he was statistically one of the worst, if not the worst, balls and strike umpire in the MLB this season is absolutely atrocious. And the reason I mean, I know it's a game changing call at that time, but he was bad. I think I tweeted out he was bad both sides all night long. It was in, you can argue who he had more calls bad, like more impact calls against. Uh, that one that almost got Cora. I think it was on the podcast when we were talking. It almost got Cora ejected. I mean, it was a Laz Diaz blown call, strike 3 on JD Martinez, and that one, it was the same spot as that one that was a strike 3 on JD. He called it a ball. It was a ball, to be honest with you. It was a ball, but it had been a strike all night long, and that's the thing. If I don't care if I'm a player or if I'm a coach or if I'm a pitcher. If you call a ball a foot off the plate a strike, I'm okay. I'll be ticked off about it. But if you're consistently calling that ball a foot off the plate a strike, then all right. I mean, make an adjustment. You know what I mean? Maybe try to just get a piece of it. You know what I mean? Make an adjustment. If it's consistently a strike, what are you going to say? But the fact it changed all night long is a problem. And I mean, umpiring was not the reason we didn't win that game. It's because we didn't score enough runs. We scored 2 runs the whole game. We went 8 innings straight without scoring a run after you scored, like you said, you scored 12 runs in game 3. But that's a game-changing call, and that's honestly a series-changing call. And I knew once they got that ball once Nate threw it and they called it a ball, I was like, this isn't going to be good. And they exploded. I mean, it's a questionable call from Cora down the stretch of that series when he goes Martin Perez. I think the only people that were confident in that move was the Astros lineup because he was just, I don't get that move at all. But to Major League Baseball is really got to figure that out. When you have an umpire that is statistically the worst balls and strike umpire in the whole league for that season, he shouldn't be anywhere near the plate in that series. I don't know who makes that decision, but that's a problem.
Yeah, no, it's disappointing. You would hope in that position you would have the best umpires available. I mean, this is the league championship series. This is the semifinals of your postseason. You hate to see it come down to balls and strikes. You mentioned it, your bats can't go cold. If you score enough runs, if you have 10 runs on the board, it doesn't matter. But then again, it would be nice if, a pitch that you called a strike earlier remains a strike in the top of the 9th inning when it's 2 strikes, 2 out, and runners on. You'd love to have that call. It sucks we didn't get it. I will say, just because you didn't get the call, that inning shouldn't turn into a 7-run,
correct,
ass kicking. That's what it was. It shouldn't turn into a 7-run ass kicking and let the game get away from you. The game's still in hand. That being said, would I prefer if anyone else was behind the plate? Absolutely. Would I have preferred the strike to be called? Yes. Do I think the Red Sox could win that game? I don't see why not. You had the 9, 1, and 2 hitters coming up in the bottom of the 9th. Fenway would have been jazzed up after a strikeout call. I don't see why the Red Sox couldn't have won that game. So you have a potential 3-1 lead. Like I said, going into Fenway again. Who knows what happens at that point? And then seeing what happened in the NL. Braves close out the Dodgers. Braves, Red Sox. I think that's a winnable series for the Red Sox. So you're looking at, maybe you could have potentially stolen a World Series in a year that you weren't supposed to do really anything. People chose you to finish last in the division, and all of a sudden you're playing in the World Series against a team that you probably can take 4 games from. It's disappointing. It sucks, but I'm not going to make excuses. The Red Sox bats went cold at the absolute worst time. You explode for 12 runs in game 3, and then Xander puts you in the lead 2-1 in game 4, and then you don't score after that. And from there, the bullpen kind of falls apart, gives up a couple of shots that you hate to give up. And, it sucks to watch the Astros take this one because it felt like the Red Sox had the control, but go Braves.
Yeah, I'm definitely rooting on the Braves this season. This in the World Series. I will be very upset if I see the Astros win another World Series. Looking at it, We're looking at who's free agents here. That's what I'm trying to find out. All right. So your top free agents for this off season for the Red Sox. We got JD Martinez as an option. I think he's going to accept that. Didn't he already say he has a player option? I think he's going to accept
I don't know
that.
if he's locked in for that yet. I think
I think
Bloom. They had a end of the year press conference today. I think they said they're hoping that he's gonna pick it up.
okay. So then you got. So you hopefully you get him. That's huge. Like you need him to kind of accept that. You got Kyle Schwarber, which is a big one. Kyle Schwarber loves playing in Boston.
Yeah, he
so I have a
said
feeling.
he said he's at least open to. He said I don't want to direct quote. He said it would be dumb if I didn't at least think about it.
Yeah. So hopefully you get him. There's a club option for Garrett Richards. If they accept that, I'll be extremely disappointed. I thought Ottavino had a club option.
I think Ottavino's gonna. I think he's gone.
Our player, he's gone.
I think he's gonna leave. Just
you think he's gonna leave?
I don't think he's. I don't think Ottavino will be back.
Do you want to see him back?
I wouldn't mind it, but it depends on the money. I think he's. Yeah. I don't know what he's gonna be asking for.
Eduardo Rodriguez. I think he's a free agent.
I'd bring back Erod for the right money.
I think you need to kind of lock him down because your starting rotation's not strong. Martin Perez is a club option. Decline.
He can leave.
Decline. Christian Vasquez has a club option. Except Matt Indries. Take it or leave it. I don't really care about him. Robles. You know, he's a free agent.
I'd kick the tires on him.
I'd try to bring him back. Danny Santana did nothing.
He can go back to Worcester.
Yeah, I'm fine with him being a minor league deal. Travis Shaw, see ya.
Yeah.
It was nice to have him back, but he did absolutely nothing for it. All he did was strike out in the playoffs. Austin Bryce, I mean, he's probably a minor league deal.
Yeah, I was gonna say he'll be a Worcester guy.
Brad Peacock, he's probably a minor league guy too. Jose Iglesias, I'd actually like to see them try to bring him back.
I'd like to give him a deal for a utility spot.
So that's who the free agents are. I mean, like we said, I think we're going through it. What was it? There was like a handful of guys that I'd want to see back here.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those guys are Worcester guys, so take that out of it. But they got some work to do. Their problems that they had were the same problems that were in why they lost. They needed a bona fide first baseman that you could start in there. Kyle Schwarber did his thing, but he made some crucial errors in that game down the stretch just because he's not a first baseman. I don't hold any problems with that. That's just like he was put in a tough situation. They need to go get a first baseman. I think
the Jets are bringing back Flacco.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that must mean he's what's his name is Dunsky. Your boy.
My boy Zach Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, he must
Flacco back to the Jets.
Starting quarterback for the New York Jets. Late waiver pick up
waiver pickup Joe Flacco.
He won't do anything. Someone asked me, isn't Joe Flacco on the Jets? I was like, no, he left, but now he's back. I guess they just were clairvoyant. A guy that I think is a free agent this year is Anthony Rizzo. And, the Yankees gave up some draft picks for him and went all in on him.
That would be sweet. That would be crazy.
I wouldn't mind throwing some money at him.
If the Yankees blew up their farm system to rent Rizzo and then the Red Sox end up signing him, that would be poetic justice.
I don't know if that would happen because the Yankees are going to throw stupid money at him to try to get him to stay.
That, and I think the Red Sox really do want Bobby to work.
I just don't see it, man.
I think they really want Bobby to work. They were giving him hacks at game. They gave him a hack at game 3. So
yeah,
clearly they want him to work.
I don't know. I think they need a bona fide first baseman if they want to contend next year. And I don't know. I'd have to look more at the free agent market, and we'll do that after the World Series, like kind of just looking at free agents this year. But one guy that comes to mind is him. And the other thing they need, like you said, starting pitching, if they get Erod back, you move Tanner Houck hopefully into the starting role.
You have Connor Siebold milling around.
Yeah, you got some guys that can fit into that starting lineup, starting rotation. You get another full off season of Chris Sale. Now that he's kind of healthy, and he had a healthy off season for Chris Sale, which is good. And he looked pretty good in that playoff game, last one he played in. Nate, Chris, if you can get Erod back, Tanner, Pavetta, like you got a solid rotation there. They got to work on the bullpen because the bullpen is atrocious. Who did you feel comfortable in the bullpen going into any of those games?
Pretty much Garrett Whitlock.
That was it. For me. Yeah, that was the only one I felt like 100% comfortable with. And, you know, after that, like that's why I didn't really hate the Evaldi bullpen move because who else did you trust?
Right.
So I think
I'd like for them to find an actual closer too.
Right. I think you either have to go in and say Whitlock is our closer and that's it, or they got to go find a guy that's been doing it for, you know, his career. I think that would be ideal. I like Whitlock coming in the 8th or 7th as like a guy. I think that's a good role for him.
That Mike Tomlin role.
Yeah, I think because he's nails. He'll get you out of any jam and set it up for the closer. I think he's a great setup man. I think he could be a closer, but I like to see them get another bullpen arm in there. Another closer in there. Yeah, because I don't trust much of what they got in that bullpen. Josh Taylor, I don't trust at all. I don't trust I trust Brazier to an extent. You know,
I saw that guy get shelled down in Worcester. I don't trust him for shit.
I maybe it's just a soft spot I have for Ryan Brazier. So I mean Brazier is very up and down. It shouldn't be. You shouldn't say Ryan Brazier is your second best bullpen arm, and that's a problem. But if he's a guy that fills out your bullpen, I don't see that as a problem. But they definitely need some help, and I mean they got to figure out what's wrong with Matt Barnes because that's a serious problem.
Yeah,
that they got for there. But bullpen arm and a first baseman, and then like you said, second base they got to kind of figure that out. Whether you got to make a decision who you're going to play at second base, whether it is Kike and then you go find another outfielder, or like I said, you figure out Christian Arroyo. I
don't want Christian Arroyo back.
Yeah, I don't really. Well, he's going to be back. I mean, unless you move him, and I don't think he's a free agent.
I've been seeing people saying move Xander to second and bring in Carlos Correa for shortstop.
I saw a couple people say that too. How do you feel about that one?
I don't love Carlos Correa personally, but he's a hell of a ball player. If Xander, for whatever reason, agreed to it, I don't see why not.
Would Carlos Correa play second base?
Again, if you want to add, if he says I'll play second base, bring him in.
Yeah.
If Xander says I'll move to second base, bring him in. If Xander says I'm not moving to second base, you don't bring him in. And if Carlos Correa says I'm not going to play second base, you don't bring him in. So
yeah. That's a tough one. I hate Carlos Correa, dude. I hate that it's my time. I can't stand it, dude. I really can't. But if you told me the day after the World Series, Carlos Correa
is just one of those. I think he's just one of those guys. If he's not on your team, you hate him. If he's on your team, you love him.
Yeah. If like I said, if you told me, that's what I was going to say. If you told me the day after the World Series, Carlos Correa is coming to Boston, I would say, yes, let's go. After a day of being like, gosh darn it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bloom did some crazy. I mean, the other guy you got to kind of make a decision on is Hunter Renfroe because Hunter Renfroe looked bad.
Yeah.
The last week of the season, but
I think that's where the open outfield spot might come from. Is you definitely have Verdugo, and then if it's move on from Renfroe, you maybe move Kike to second. That opens up a spot. I think there's going to be an open spot in the outfield.
I think they're also kind of hoping Duran takes a step next year.
Duran's another guy who's in the mix. He's another guy who's in the mix. You brought him up, around, I think, was it around halfway? Around halfway, maybe
around halfway.
Three quarters. It seemed like he was a little bit over his skis, but I wonder with a full spring training and if you give him April, he could really put it together. So yeah, like I said, Connor Siebold, Jarren Duran, you have those Whistler guys who are almost like too good for AAA, but you have to see if they can make it in the MLB. So
yeah, we'll have to see. I think Bloom will make some moves, and hopefully he can add tighten up those loose ends that we had that kept us from 2 games away from the World Series. Just a quick look at the Celtics' first couple games. we won't spend too much time on this because it's way too early to call anyway. Celtics up and down start. What else is new with the Celtics? I mean, I think it's a tough loss in their first game against the Knicks, but it's a good game. I mean, it's like
I was so pissed that happened, man. I was like, game 1, and they're already pulling this bullshit of massive comeback, get to overtime, miss layups, and lose the fucking game, man. Like, I want to say I couldn't believe it, but I could absolutely believe
you
it.
can 100% believe
Night
this
fucking 1. And they're already doing this. They're already doing the whole fall behind, claw back. God damn it, dude. And then blown out by the Raptors. That was bad. But
what happened to Ime Udoka saying we're not going to argue with refs?
I don't know.
There was a lot of arguing with some
I
referees.
don't know. But
Jason Tatum just walking back on defense.
You get the win against the Rockets. So, 1-2 to start the season. That's why you play 82. But God, I was so upset that that's how they started the season. Raptors suck, so I was kind of worried about that loss. You get the Rockets win, so I can't really complain so far. It's only been 3 games. But
Yeah, I mean it's still early.
It just would have been nice if they came out night 1, beat the Knicks by like 40, and I'll be like, oh, all right, here we go.
But that's not going to happen.
No, it was never going to happen.
Typical Celtics, dude.
They take the entire first month to figure it out, and then they kind of turn it on.
The one thing I would say if you have to be nervous about anything is tough start from Jason Tatum, huh?
Brutal.
He's like
brutal,
pretty bad.
Brutal. Jaylen Brown is doing all he can to win that Knicks game, and Jason Tatum's throwing up bricks left and right. Oh my God, man.
Yeah. But positivity. Look at it. I mean, like you said, it's way too early. Like
way too early.
They have what? They have.
I'm not gonna
79 more.
Yeah, I'm not gonna drag Jason Tatum for having a bad opening night. A lot of people were overreacting, saying, "Do we move him? Like, no, we're not moving anyone.
Yeah, let's move him after we have 81 more games.
Right.
Let's take it easy.
Right.
And I mean, if you want to look at it, everyone's saying the Lakers were going to win.
We're not trading.
Finals. They're 0-3.
Yeah, we're not trading LeBron James after night 1, so we're not trading Jason Tatum after night 1.
So I long year to go. I think they'll be fine.
It's just typical Celtics. They never get off the hot starts. So wake me up in November.
So that was a quick Celtics. There's not much to really go off of that, but we just want to say Celtics are back. We're excited to have them back.
Celtics are back, and they're back to their old bullshit. God
new coach, same deal.
God damn.
Let's move on to our last segment of the night, the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby. People's topic.
All right, so for people's topic, you can write in our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Give us a follow and let us know what you want us to talk about. Coming up first, we'll go to Vicky. Oh, she's got a quick comment. Chris Hogan retiring. Shout out to Chris Hogan. Didn't really play much this year. I didn't even think he was going to play, but
he was playing lacrosse at one point.
Yeah, he was playing lacrosse in the summer, and then he's like, I'm going to pursue a career in lacrosse, and then out of nowhere, you see him on the Saints team, and he caught a couple passes this year, but
I'll always be thankful for his service as a Patriot. So
yeah, nothing.
Good on you, Chris Hogan.
Nothing negative to say. Wish him luck in retirement. Mrs. Big Red says me.
She wants us to talk about her.
Yeah. Well, we're going to her.
Mrs. Big Red's gonna put on a great Halloween party. It's gonna be good times.
Yeah. She picked some flowers this weekend.
Nice.
We're gonna do some pumpkins this week.
Oh,
carve some pumpkins.
I carved pumpkins over the weekend. I was gonna wait to post them until the Halloween party, and then just kind of get all my Halloween shit out in once.
I like it. You know what the best part about carving pumpkins is, and this is a new thing for me. I was never into this until actually Mrs. Big Red on theme.
Right. Where are we going with this?
Pumpkin seeds,
bro.
Pumpkin seeds.
I make mean pumpkin seeds. I have a whole Tupperware of pumpkin seeds right now.
What's your go-to? What's your strategy? What's your recipe? What's your
so I let them dry. I leave them out to dry, but they don't dry like that as I want them. So I usually just stick them in the oven like multiple times until they finally like
Crisp.
dry out and crisp.
Yeah.
I went with, hold on, let me pull it up right here.
Because I just do the salt and bake. That's
I
usually what I
used to
do.
be a salt guy. But my roommate has a bunch of spices.
Oh
And I've
man,
been
tell me
kind of-
some spice.
I've been tinkering. So I've been going with the Goya adobo spices.
Goya adobo. What's that?
And it's like a almost like a it's like a seasoning. I honestly don't even know exactly what it is, but I'm like, I'm gonna tinker around here so we can't get going.
You know what? I'm
Dude,
gonna need you
so-
to send that to me.
I can bring some to the party. I'll bring a little something to the party.
Yeah, bring some and send me a list of what you use because I may
That's
make
the
a
only
few
thing I
different.
use. It's just
That's the only thing you
seeds.
use.
It's just the seeds and then sprinkle it on and toss them in the oven.
I like it. I'm gonna try that out. I think 'cause
Big
we're
pumpkin seed guy, huge.
I love pumpkin seeds, and Mrs. Big Red was the one that made me try them. And it's like since she made me try them, I haven't stopped. That was actually that was actually like our first Halloween together. We had going back in the memory bank. She
Going all the way back.
she made me try them, and
Hell
she
yeah.
made like this big bag of them because we were at school.
Yeah, then save them up.
And,
We'll have
dude.
I'll bring mine. You can have yours. We'll have a little taste test at the party. We'll be good.
We got pumpkins late from this place that we normally get pumpkins, and all that was left is these big, massive ones. So
Oh,
there's gonna
dude,
be a ton of seeds in there.
Mine was perfect.
All right, good question. But see, Mr. Big Red, more spark
Molly?
some conversation.
Molly got us going there.
Ben, coming from Ben Rappaport.
Nice.
How dumb is fantasy football? How dumb fantasy football is. That's actually the quote that he said.
I'll say this. I told Big Red this when we were apple picking a couple weeks ago. It stresses me out to the point that I don't even check my phone until like the 4:00 games are done. I can't do it anymore. Like my buddy checks religiously, like probably every 5 minutes. I know Steve
me.
does every now and then, but my buddy checks every 5 minutes. It stresses me out, man. I can't do it anymore. I have to just kind of like let it go.
You know what? The first 5 weeks or so, like of the season, like every week I was looking at. This week, I had a men's league basketball game at 12, so I couldn't really check my rosters. I got to tell you, I was the least stressed this week.
I can't.
I don't think I think I got to look at my lineups early in the morning, set them,
That's what I do.
keep an eye out for injuries, and then just let it
I
be.
can't
I
do it,
can't
man.
keep looking.
Every
all
time I
I'm
look, I'm
thinking-
like, oh, I only have 10 points, but I only have like one guy going. I'm like, why do I
Yeah.
only have 10 points? And then you look and it's like, yo, you're down 30 with 2 guys left to go. I'm like, well, fuck. So I can't do it anymore, man. I just let it ride. It's too much.
All right, this is coming from Instagram here. This is coming from producer John. Shout out, producer John.
Ooh.
He said solve for X 3 plus 4, open parentheses 18 times 2, close parentheses divided by 8 equals X.
Is
I
that
can
a
tell you
math
right
equation?
now, math equation. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to solve for this. All right, maybe I'll come up with this. Let's see. The magic of the pause button. I'm going to say 21, producer John. I have no idea if that's right. So I hope you actually, I just did all that math with Danny Football, assisted with the multiplication and division. If you don't know the answer to that, I'm going to be very upset. So make sure you tell us, make sure you DM us and let us know if we were right. 21. And all you math people that are saying I messed that up, relax. All right. That was quick
Relax.
math. Last one. He must have heard us
Oh, he's back.
because he's back. I got nervous. Thank goodness he's back. Joseph _ Celia. He comes out with one. He says, what's funnier, the Ben Simmons drama or the current downfall of the Chiefs?
I got to say the Ben Simmons drama, because for so long, people have been harping on how good Ben Simmons is and how great the 76ers are and trust the process, that to see this franchise crumble before our very eyes without even sniffing the NBA finals is poetic, man. Absolutely poetic. The Chiefs at least got a 1 Super Bowl and another trip. The Sixers haven't gotten jack shit out of all those Embiid, Simmons, Fultz, Okafor. If you want to go back to
Jimmy
Okafor,
Butler.
Jimmy Butler, you bring in Tobias Harris. All those pieces, and the Sixers couldn't do anything with it. So give me the Ben Simmons drama all day.
I have to agree with that. It's just so funny to see this team that trusts the process and I wouldn't trust the process, my friends, because he
The
you
process
need to
cannot be trusted.
And did you hear the GM? He's
I
like,
did
as
not,
crazy as
no.
it sounds. He's like, I think he said like this earlier this week or later last week. He goes, it may sound crazy, but we're okay with having Ben Simmons sit out games. We're not going to trade him unless we get an impact player. Dude, I would just move him, dude. Get a first round pick, get something for him. Because if you're going to wait this long for wasting a roster spot and all that money on this guy, like he doesn't want to be there. And it's pretty obvious. It's like normally you can.
It could be more obvious. He held out, and then the second he comes back, the first practice, he gets suspended for being, what do they call it? Detrimental to the team. It's like something detrimental to the team. The dude doesn't want to be there.
Yeah. So I would just move him, get rid of him, don't waste money on him, and let him move on. Maybe he'll flourish in another spot. So
Markel Fultz is doing that, so why not?
yeah. Yeah, who knows? He could end up being a pretty good player somewhere else. So anyways, that's it for People's Topic. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button on this video as well as all the other videos, and tell a friend. Happy Halloween, everyone. Go eat some pumpkin seeds and some candy. My thanks to Danny Football as always.
Go Pats, go Revs, go Bees. Bruins are back.
even-
And congratulations to the New England Revolution for winning their first ever supporter shield. That means they're the best regular season team. First round bye clinched in the MLS playoffs. Revs are the best ticket in town, baby.
I got to actually talk to you about that because a group of people I know are going to the Revs game in a couple weeks, and they asked if I wanted to get tickets, and I was going to see if you wanted to go to that.
We can nail that down.
Yeah. Also, real quick before we go out, who's winning the World Series
Braves.
and how many games?
4.
I'm gonna go with
Fuck the Astros.
Braves in 5. Braves in 5. They'll split at home. They're gonna lose one at home. All right. Have a great week, everyone.